Okay. Alright, it's starting to really rain out there. Not looking so good. Yeah, it's pretty windy out there and a little rainy. Alright, so it's rainy out. Very rainy. And I figured, you know, what do you do whenever it rains? When you get somewhere dry, you just have a fun time talking to your friends. And you all are my friends, so I want to share a few things that are on my heart while it's raining right now. I just want to be able to share from my heart. I'm not eloquent. As a kid, I was always pretty shy. I mean, the fact that I'm talking to you all right now is kind of crazy, honestly. I just want to give a little backstory. You know, give a little story of who I am and why I'm here sharing gardening advice with you all. I was born in Africa, in Kenya, East Africa. My parents were missionaries over there, and they only were there for, well, they were there 10 years, and then they came back to the States. My dad's from Texas, mom's from Ohio. That's why I don't have any accent, because they kind of combined northern, southern accent and went together, and I didn't get anything. So now I just make sound effects. So back on track. Parents left Texas and went over to Africa again. They were there 2 years, and then I popped out. Little Benjamin, a super long kid apparently. The midwife was like, didn't have a scale with her, so she just kind of picked me up. I guess I was kind of this small, and kind of felt me and what said 4 kilos. So we don't exactly know how much I weighed. I was a little guy, popped out, and then my parents came back to America shortly after that because my grandma was getting sick. So I grew up in the mountains of Tennessee. I loved it. Loved just climbing the mountains. I was homeschooled, so I could make my own schedule, figure all that out, boom, 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 boom. I would have a bucket of worms ready, or at least a little, one of those plastic red cups. And I knew this area that was like wet, and I put some logs down there. So it was right in between the house and the creek. So I would run down with my fishing pole, trying not to poke it in the ground and break it. Run, you know, little guy, 8-year-old, little, or 10-year-old little guy, little Benj, running down, and then I would get those logs, pull them up. There's a worm right there, boom, 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 grab enough worms that I would need, and then race down to the creek. Boom, that first cast. I was trying to be quiet, you know, I didn't want to scare the fish away. First cast, you know, it just, I can see it in my mind. And it just went, little sound, it would go down, wait for it, and then I'd see a little bit of a nibble. I knew it wasn't quite ready to jerk yet. More of a nibble, and then, bow, got him, woo! Reeled him up. And man, I mean, these were little fish, like tiny little guys. Super blessed growing up experience. Really, really loved it. I just always loved being outside. Hiking, biking, fishing, anything to do with the outdoors. When I think I was 8 or 9 years old, I remember creating my first little garden. My dad gardened a little bit, so I kind of knew a little bit from him, but not too much. And but I knew to take care of the soil and try to get the weeds out. So I planted some plants. Most of them didn't survive because I was doing pretty much, if it was wrong, I was probably doing it at that point. Plants are pretty tough, and they survived my 8-year-old little efforts, and eventually I remember the first bite out of a banana pepper that I had grown. And this little banana pepper plant, poor thing, was like this tall, you know, real scraggly, but it produced some banana peppers. And the first one crunched into it, and I was like, wait, what? I grew this? Like, I planted the seed, I planted the plant, and I watched it grow, I watered it. You know, I did all that I knew, my 8-year-old little mind knew to do. And then I was able to eat, you know, what I had grown. Something about that first experience of literally tasting the fruits of my labor was very powerful for me. It was just, I was hooked. It's just like those fishing, you know, trips where I hooked the fish. I was the hooked fish for gardening, and I just couldn't keep myself away from it after that. I just started diving into research and learning what it looks like to grow your own food, and not only just do it the normal way that everybody else does it, but I wanted to figure out the best way to do it in a way that when you start a garden and then let's say you move and you go somewhere else, that garden, that space of land is actually improved and better than it was before. I believe that as people we can actually improve the spaces that we go into. We don't have to degrade the environment. I believe that, I believe in the Bible, and I believe that God has told us from back in the garden, like the whole story of the Garden of Eden started in the garden, of course, so there is a part of us as people that we kind of want to take care of the space around us and make sure it's healthy and safe. So that was my desire, was just to learn all I could. I just started diving into all kinds of books and videos and learning from all kind of different peoples. I saw that not everybody agreed on this, but there were primary aspects of growing food that it did seem like were natural and good. Where did I go from there? I started to really just do it. There's no better way to learn than to just get out there and really start doing stuff. So I put in gardens. My high school job and for summertime was to do a CSA. I took a eighth of an acre in front of our house, which I was blessed to have, and I did all I knew to do and grew fruits and vegetables for people in our community. I had buckets of in-season vegetables that were just super beautiful, and from there I decided to go to college. I went to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, which is a land-grant university, so that means that all the people in Tennessee can come there to learn about agriculture. They're specifically supposed to be able to teach about agriculture. I dove into studies there. I studied plant science, emphasis on organic production, and then from there I studied also food and ag business, and that was a wonderful experience. I learned from so many of my teachers. I hope to introduce you all to some of the teachers that I got to learn from at the University of Tennessee. I had some wonderful teachers. And then from there, right after graduation, I flew over to Africa, which I've been to Africa several times since I was born there. But this trip was a 3-month internship with Foundations for Farming. And really their heart is to, like I said, steward the land and to serve our neighbors by teaching sustainable practices, rather than giving out fish, teaching people how to fish rather than giving them a fish. So they really do a great job of bringing people from specific tribes or areas, about 30 people, and they come and they spend 2 weeks of training in how to manage their finances, how to manage their farms, and how to manage their families. And it's just powerful, and their faith. It's just powerful stuff they're doing over there. So I'm a big supporter of Foundations for Farming. Learned a ton over there. Mostly I learned the heart behind how to serve people through agriculture. So that was that, and then after that I had 2 years of just landscape experience. Like all of a sudden it was kind of crazy. I came back from Zimbabwe, and then the next 2 years were just jam-packed with learning like crazy. I became the landscape division manager of a up-and-coming landscape company here in Knoxville. That it's just a really awesome company with a great vision. It's called Seeds of Change. You should check it out if you want to. I might put a link in the description there. But I knew that I needed to bless others with my gift of making spaces look beautiful and growing plants and just bringing life into spaces. Plus I love to talk with the guys and learn from them, because Seeds of Change really tries to hire more people who have had a harder past but who are really trying to change their life now. And I loved that heart. So those 2 years were super transformational. I learned a ton about landscaping and landscape design, how to make a space go from overgrown craziness to ordered, beautiful, the colors matching up, and the flow of the landscape working with the different aspects, the different hardscape aspects. Learned about hardscaping, how to make fire pits and walkways and retaining walls. I learned so much just by asking people and looking it up on YouTube and getting out there and doing it. So from that experience, my heart was to, I love this landscaping. I loved making spaces beautiful, but I still had this heart to make spaces fruitful as well. I wanted it to be edible and beautiful. I wanted food to come from people's landscapes. I loved the beautifying aspects of landscaping, but I still longed for the stewardship aspect of gardening and of growing food. From there, I decided, you know what? I really need to just combine these two. My business is called Gardenguy Edible Landscapes, and essentially I help folks take their available space and steward it towards abundance. Abundance meaning fruitfulness and beauty combined. You know, you can have a beautiful space, but also it produces fresh food, homegrown food. I mean, there's nothing like it. It's so good. Fruit trees, berry bushes, raised beds, herbal gardens, container gardens in your windowsills, you know, potted plants, all kinds of fun stuff like that. That's what I love. That's what I've been passionate about, helping folks, you guys on YouTube, just getting information out there, blessing you all with daily content. That is my heart, is to just continue to take what I have received from my teachers and pass that along. I mean, it's a blessing to bless, so that's my heart in this. So yeah, that's my story, folks. I've been up and down on a roller coaster, and life is hard and good and beautiful and painful, and you guys all know that too. It's crazy. But the fact is, each of us have gifts and talents, and each of us have desires to you know, dive into different types of aspects of life. And for me, that's gardening. So my heart is that this YouTube channel and my Instagram channel and other formats, through like writing and photography, I would be able to bless you all and to be able to share with you all what I have learned about gardening so far, and also about beautifying spaces through what I've learned through landscaping. I really appreciate you all watching and being faithful to comment and like, and just, to me, it's not about the numbers, it's about individuals just like you all getting blessed. And if I can do that, I'm happy. That's a good day. That's a very good day. That's where I'm at. It stopped raining a little bit, so in a second we're gonna go back out there and I'm gonna finish working in the garden. But thank you all for hearing my story. Hope it was an encouragement to you. See y'all later. I really do appreciate you.